Thank you. We are going to now move on to our continuing program on learning across the district, and we're being presented with students from Irwin's grades 3, 4, and 5 tonight. So if you could just come to the podium, introduce yourselves, and welcome.
Welcome. Oh, thank you very much. Hi, I'm Abby Salgado. I'm a physical education teacher at Irwin School. And what we're going to be doing for you guys tonight is, well, we try to get the kids really interested in physical fitness, and so they love the song The Whip. And so there's a fitness workout to go along with that song. And so every time we put it on, they ask for it all the time the last couple of minutes just to do this, and it's a really good workout. So I'm going to show you guys. Can I have my volunteers come up? If you don't mind, I got to start my
Ready and carry.
Sorry, just getting it all started for you. Please don't fall.
Bluetooth has
Over across there?
Yeah, right here.
Sure. In the middle? You can have our backs are towards you, is that okay?
Yeah, well, we'll be on camera.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
She just got nervous.
All right, so we're facing this way. All right?
Very
21st century physics.
It's our
Personal trainer.
That was very, very, very cute. Very good. Good job. Future American Ninja Warriors. There you go, right?
I just think I found a new warm-up exercise for the entire group before a meeting.
We'll do that in the back later.
In the back room?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to take a short 3-minute break. I know it's a school night and a lot of these kids want to get home. And we'll reconvene in 3 minutes.
They have to go whip and nay-nay.
Nice.
That's very good.
It was nice to hear.
They had some nice moves. They did.
We're going to move on with the board agenda, and we're asking at this point Mr. Figueroa to give us a presentation on school clubs and activities report. Thank you.
How do you follow the nay-nay? I don't know how to. That was amazing. So, good evening, everyone. I wanted to take a moment this evening just to give you a brief summary of the Clubs and Activities Report from 2005-06 to present. I'm going to start off with a little bit of history this evening. And I'll explain to you why these numbers are important. From 2006 to 2010, we only needed 10 students to run a club. So it was a little easier to get 10 students together and to have them continue to go in order to have a club run. That was the minimum number. August of 2007, we began charging for clubs and activities, $15 per student per club. And that was part of the pay-to-play program that we still have today. And that number has not changed in terms of $15. From 2010 to present, the number of students needed for a club was moved up to 15. And that would be a concern in terms of not only kids who sign up, but the important thing is they continue to participate. That is how the club runs, and that is what the advisors have to have in order for that club to run, and the advisor get paid by the end of the year. 2010, 2011, we had the state requiring physicals for intramurals, and that changed the face of what we were doing back then, which was students were able to come up, sign up, come and play in their favorite sport very leisurely. Now, with the implementation of having to have physicals, now you had to have someone monitor that. You would have had to have someone making sure that every student who might have had an issue was also being watched. That would have probably meant a trainer to be on board. So that pretty much hurt that program for us at that time. 2010, 2011, we had the major budget reductions. This is from the 2009-2010 budget for 2010-11. 45 clubs, this high school was reduced to 45 clubs, 15 for Churchill and Hammersholt, and the elementaries down to 5 clubs. Now, the most significant change during that time really happened in the numbers of students participating at the elementary level. And I'll explain that to you. I'm going to show you the next chart. Now, as you take a look at this, please understand that the number you see, let's look at 2009, 2010, and let's just use Bauman Road, which is on top. That's 363 times a student would have participated. For instance, if I'm a 3rd, 4th, 5th grader, whoever, and I go to a club on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's 5 times of participation. If those clubs are taken away and now I'm only going to 1 club a week, now it's 1 time that person participated. Doesn't mean the difference is not the numbers of students, but the numbers of times students went to the club. Okay, so I want you to just understand that. So as you look down the list, each elementary school took a pretty good hit. If you look at the recap totals at the bottom, you'll see that it was over 50% of our elementary students were not getting to the clubs that they once had gone to the year before the budget cuts. Hammersholt, it was about a 400 student decline in terms of numbers of students going into clubs and activities. Churchill had about 150. The high school remained similar and actually got a little bit better. Now, why is that? A couple of reasons. One, they still had 45 clubs to choose from. Also, students wanted to make sure that that was part of their transcripts, and I'm sure that they wanted to go out of their way to make sure they got involved in a club that meant something to them. They also had the opportunity at the secondary to join the equal access clubs, okay? So if you have any club that is a non-curricular club at your secondary schools that meets, you have to allow other organized clubs to meet that may not be one of those clubs that you initially put out for all students to be involved in. So it could be considered a specialty group, a specialty club. Those are still allowed at the high school as well. They do have advisors. Those advisors are not paid. They volunteer their time. Okay. A lot of the questions that I know the board had earlier in the year, frequently asked questions about the clubs and activities. First of all, our elementary schools. They went from about 12 to 14 in each elementary school down to 5 during the 2010-11 school year. Three of the 5 clubs that we have in every one of our schools are student council, chorus, and safety patrol. So that really leaves us with 2 options per elementary school. It's not a lot of options, but that's really where we're at right now. How are clubs derived? It's really by a couple of factors. One, student interest and participation. As I said before, it's not enough to sign up for the club. We need you to participate, be involved every time during the club when the club meets. Another part is available staff. We have to have someone that wants to, and we'll spend the time with the students, monitoring the students, making sure they're safe, and making sure that whatever the club directions are, that those students stay within those abilities. Also, we have to look at the numbers of clubs that are already in place. So, as an example, at the elementary level, if I have a good idea for a club and I want that club to be part of what we're doing in my school, we have to replace an existing club because all of our elementaries have the maximum amount, which is 5. Okay, so that does not allow for a lot of leeway. You would have to either remove an existing club to put a new one in, or tell that group they could not have a club, especially at the elementaries where there's no equal access. In addition to that, there also could be available space issues and resources that might be needed for a club. Those are really not the main issue, but I wanted to make sure we list them as well. The process for requesting a new club has to go through the building administration. As I said before, each club has their number of clubs, and they cannot exceed the maximum as we have it now. Budget cuts, as I mentioned before, during the 2009-2010 cycle were made for the 11-12 school year, 10-11 school year, and those cuts meant 88 advisor stipends were removed at that time, and those have not been put back in. When we did survey principals, because I think that was the board's wish to also see if principals would like to have more clubs and if they thought that would work in their schools, overwhelmingly they were interested in potentially having more of the availability of more clubs and activities. That is what I have for you tonight. I would like to answer any questions you still may have regarding the clubs and activities programs. And yes.
Thank you for that presentation. I just wanted to let the board know that we did have a first meeting of the Strategic Planning Subcommittee on extracurricular activities, and we went into great depth on these very issues. We took it level by level and talked about the cuts that were made and about starting to think about recommendations to the board about adding things back and investigating other ways to get intramurals back into the program, et cetera, et cetera. So we did have a conversation at a certain level about these very things because we're concerned also.
Is there any other comments or questions? All right, thank you, sir.